I used to sing for a few competitions from college, but the main break was when I was singing, Jaiye Aap Kahan Jayenge, Asha Ji's song
Asha,
for my college day function.
the evergreen song, I would say.
Absolutely. When Lata ji sings, you feel this is the only way the song can be sung. There's no need to do any extra harkat or murki to pass on the emotion.
I've not seen anybody who is like an M.S. Subbulakshmi or Kishori ji or anybody. They all have certificates saying, first class, gold medalist in singing or playing an instrument. They can't play for 10 minutes or to make the audience sit.
I was told that your name was Sharada Krishnamurti, and Hemanda made you change the name.
Actually, I am Sharda. My college friends still call me Sharda. Whole of 80s and early 90s, all my songs were done in one stretch. Hawa Hawaii, one stretch. Roop Ki Rani, Chorunga Raja, even my most difficult songs, all in one stretch. There was no dubbing facilities those days. If I made a mistake, the musicians have to play everything again for me. And I was a junior singer. And there were a lot of senior musicians there. So, like, everybody would look at their watch if I make a mistake and say, "Iske liye phir se gana bajao." Tu Hi Re was little difficult for me. I told Rahman ji also. I said, "Aapne to mere ko Z scale mein gawa rahe hain." Rahman sings very high.
I feel music is very important for intellectual and spiritual and emotional growth. It is very, very important because a lot of people, because of pressure in IIT and things, people are committing suicide because there's not a balance of emotional thing. Classical musician especially, they feel, suddenly a Bollywood singer and everybody started asking for that thing, whether I'll get importance. A folk artist will think, if I go next to a classical singer, nobody will respect me. They'll think you're a folk artist. But all these things are true.
So you fell in love with her voice before you met her?
Because of voice and because of singing.
Your other companion, or should I say your main companion?
Main.
No.
So whom does he love more, Kavita ji?
Honestly, the violin comes first.
The violin comes
Absolutely.
Namaste, Jai Hind. Welcome to another edition of the ANI podcast with Smita Prakash. My guests today are a couple whose contribution to Indian music has been phenomenal. Not just Indian music, but Western music too. Kavita Krishnamurti has recorded thousands of songs in the Bombay and South Indian film industry. She's a trained classical singer. In 2005, Kavita Krishnamurti was awarded the Padma Shri, which is India's fourth highest civilian award. Kavita Krishnamurti is married to the world-renowned violinist and music composer L. Subramaniam, or Mani Sir as he is affectionately and reverentially called. He has about 200 recordings to his credit, besides having released several solo albums and collaborating with a world-renowned musician like Yehudi Menuhin. L. Subramaniam is also known as Violin Chakravarti or the Emperor of Violin because of the diverse repertoire and collaborations that he has performed. Kavita ji, Mani sir, thank you so much for coming to the ANI studio. We are so honored that you are here at the ANI studio, and I cannot believe my luck, and I am grateful to the Lord that I am sitting in the same space as two such great artists, such eminent artists, and one is heard you, of course, and you have such a huge fan base in the country and abroad that for me to be conversing with you, I must have done something good in my earlier life.
Yes.
So I'm so grateful that you're here with us today.
Our pleasure, and we are your fans too.
Yes,
No.
absolutely.
Very nice.
You're doing
I'm
wonderful
honored.
work.
Wonderful job.
Yeah,
You've
wonderful
heard some
work.
of the
Thank
things.
you.
It's very, very focused and very nice, very casual.
Very informative
very
about
informative.
every person that you
It's
interview.
a great pleasure for us to be here.
Thank you, sir. So, with your permission, Mani sir, I'm going to begin with Kavita ma'am, ladies first, and
Yes.
it's my prerogative as a host that I want a lady to speak
Sure,
first.
definitely.
So, Kavita ji, you've been for me at least, or my generation, you've been the voice of romance. No wedding is complete without your voice being part. Before the priest can even begin with the mantras and the shlokas, Kavita ma'am's voice comes, right? So every bride has sung, every little girl has done Hawa Hawaii. Bole Chudiyan is something like, I don't think any wedding is complete without Bole Chudiyan going. How does it feel, ma'am, when I'm sure you've attended weddings where it must feel eerie, right? To hear that.
Eerie, and to tell you the truth, there are times when I just wonder back and say it's really me, and I've had such a successful career for myself, and sometimes I feel awed at the thought because I don't come from a very glamorous background, so Bollywood was like not something attainable at all, And to think from Delhi how I came to Bombay, and then the thing is, from the time I stepped into Bombay, the people I sang for were all very, very big. All very, very big people. And still now I don't know how those things happened. So when and I remember the first time when I saw my name on the screen, those days used to have, even before the movie started, you would have, I would see Lata Mangeshkar, Manna Dey, Kishore Kumar, even before the film started. So there was a time when Pyar Jhukta Nahi, my name would come before the film started. Now
Why?
it's because now it's all
credits,
after. Yeah, the credits we would get so much importance. So first day I was literally jumping on the seat, and now when I look back, I feel really, 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 I've sung so many songs. I've done this, and I'm very impressed with myself sometimes. I say, oh God, really I've done all these things?
And such a vast repertoire, no? When today, when India, when there's this talk of, India is divided, language issue, non-Hindi. How many languages have you sung in? Some
Practically
30, 40 languages,
practically
I think, right?
all Indian languages, and including Nepali also, some Nepali songs. I think the only language I may not have sung in India is probably Tulu or something small.
But
not a dialect.
You began with the Kannada, right?
Yes,
Ondondu Kaladalli.
Oh yes, how well you remember this, Sitaji. Yes, of course. So I've
I'm
sung
a Kannadiga, so that's how I know this.
Really?
So all that I've done, yes. So in most languages, and the thing is, when you go to the studio at that point, it's not a Hindi song or a Bengali song or anything. It is a script. It's the composition. It's how to render the song. Your total focus in that. For that 2 hours, you're not thinking that I'm singing a Kannada song, I'm singing a Punjabi song. You're just so involved with projecting the words, because our job is to reach the emotion of the words to the public. And the focus is how to pronounce the words right, whichever language. So that's why I think that music should be an integral part of every child. Because from childhood, if you learn music and you learn not one particular kind of music, like as you're learning Hindustani music, you also learn a Carnatic music, Tilana, or you learn an English song, or in between you learn a small Spanish ditty. These are things which will really remove all those barriers and obstacles you have about caste, creed, religion.
Did you have, when you started out, it was so many decades ago. Now, of course, everything is techno. We'll get to the techno part of it. But at that time, did you have a dialect coach or something? Because you're a South Indian who's lived in Delhi. So I'm guessing that Hindi wouldn't have been difficult for you to pick up. And then being a South Indian, you would have been able to do Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Kannada. You would have picked up anyway.
Yes.
But did you have a dialect coach when certain words like la, la, there's
actually,
a subtle...
all my commercial singing happened when I was in Maharashtra. So like ulla and ala Maharashtra. So because I was constantly listening to Marathi and Gujarati, so that wasn't a problem. And in my childhood, we were a joint family at home in Delhi, where my other set of adopted parents who lived in the same house, there was only 2 different kitchens. One was a non-vegetarian kitchen and one was a South Indian kitchen. Were my aunt and uncle who were Bhattacharyas, who were Bengalis. So I would go to this side of the house and speak Bengali and speak Tamil and English this side of the house. So it's my Bengali aunt who held my hand, my Mamuni, who brought me to Bombay and said, I see your future as a playback singer.
So did you learn Rabindra Sangeet too?
That's the start of my career. At the age of 7.5, 8 years old, my start of my music was Tagore songs for 1 year. And for 1 or 2 years in Kalibadi, Delhi. That's where I grew up, near Mandir Marg. Just across Kalibadi was my government home, where my father was in government service. So I used to learn Tagore songs, and there used to be a competition, a Shama Sangeet competition and a Tagore song competition age-wise. My very first competition, Anil Bishwas was a judge, I remember. In my group, I won the prize, and in the next group, my brother won the prize. He was a fabulous singer. So that Tagore song, then slowly to Hindustani music. So Tagore song has been I just love Tagore songs, and I'll continue loving them all my life.
And Hindustani how come Hindustani, I'm not saying anything, but what I'm thinking is, in those days, I would think that a South Indian family, Carnatic music. North Indian family, Hindustani classical. Learn Bharatanatyam or learn Kathak. There were these divisions.
It's strange
Like
that...
Mani sir has done medicine.
I know.
Let's first get an engineering or a medical degree and then do whatever you have to, right? I would think that.
Absolutely.
So, what about you, ma'am?
Actually, in my case, what really happened was my mother had learned Carnatic music and she got married when she was 14. And her lineage is pretty great. Like one of her relatives is related to Madhuramani Iyer, the greatest.
Huh.
So Madhuramani Iyer used to come home and stay with us for his Delhi concerts. So I used to hear that as a child. But Amma also always said that you're in Delhi, I don't think I can get you a fine Carnatic music teacher easily. But it'll be easy for me to teach you Hindustani. We'll get better teachers. So you do Hindustani. And that's how I started learning Hindustani music. But my father would bring recordings of M.S. Subbulakshmi and Bhimsen Joshi at home. So we heard both.
Yeah.
But Hindustani was stronger because I had started learning Hindustani music.
Okay.
And
But in the 70s, this would be, right?
no. Late 50s, early 60s.
Early 60s.
I had started learning, yes.
Yeah.
70s, I was a teenager.
By then you had started
Not a teenager,
performing.
I was in college.
You had started performing and all that by then.
In
Or
Delhi,
only-
not so much. Delhi, it was always All India Radio, Bachon Ka program. And then yahan wahan competitions,
Yuvavani and all
inter-ministry
that.
competition, yeah. But Bombay, when I came to Bombay and joined college, I used to sing for a few competitions from college and started singing a little professionally. But the main break was when I was singing, Jaiye Aap Kahan Jayenge, Asha Ji's song
Asha.
for my college day function.
The evergreen song, I would say.
Absolutely. There's a college day function and the chief guest was Hemant Kumar because I was in St. Xavier's, Bombay. So it was easy for us to tap all these great people because their children were all in college. Like his daughter Ranu was my classmate.
Okay.
So we invited Hemanta to be a chief guest. So I sang and then Amin Sayani Saab was also there. After the
Radio Ceylon.
Yeah, Radio Ceylon. What an amazing man.
Yes.
So Hemanta said, Arey, my daughter doesn't want to sing with me on stage and travel here and there. Would you like to come and do duets with me on stage? And that's how my stage concerts with Hemanta started.
Okay.
And he in turn introduced me to Manna Deji.
What legends.
And with Manada for 18 years, I traveled all over the world.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
And they're all amazing, amazing generation of people. And through Manada also with Talat Mahmood Saab.
Okay.
And Mukesh Ji's son was in my college, Nitin. So with Mukesh Ji, how doors opened, Smita Ji, I can't tell you. That's why I feel a strong presence of God.
Yeah, I'm sure. There must be some divine hand, right?
Divine hand, because I feel every time there was a light thrown in my path saying, okay, now turn left. Okay, now turn right. And I went through that part of my life, believe me, more like a child than an adult. I knew that I had to sing, I had to work hard with my practice, and I knew I had to go to college. There was no third worry. And I just did my duties as far as my college studies and my singing was concerned. Everything else, God said, you just do this. I will take care of everything else. Because I had another Rakhi brother, so strange, whom we used to know in Delhi, who was Guru Dutt Ji's youngest brother. He was in advertising in Bombay. So during college days, he got me admitted into Xavier's. And he said, I do jingles. You better sing jingles. You need money to live in Bombay.
Yeah.
He called me for a jingle to the studio. And guess, his bhabhi Geeta Ji was singing the Hindi and the Bengali. And I was going to sing the Tamil. Amul Spray jingle. That's the start of my jingle career.
Geeta Dutt sang a jingle?
She sang a jingle. Those days,
Yeah, you needed the money, right?
she needed the money and it was her brother-in-law's.
Right.
So she was an angel. And I sang my first jingle. She blessed me and then cut to doing Nirma and Jandu Bombs and all that came much later.
Much later.
But you see how here
Yeah.
I was doing jingles and making a bag of money and coming home. And then the only thing I knew is, okay, next morning I get up, I go to college and go for some jingle here, there. This was my life. I didn't have to think. I knew I had to get up, do my practice. This is all I did. I never thought for myself. I really, to tell you the truth, I was not a thinking creature. It was like automation. Practice, college, jingle, concert. This was my life.
I'm
And-
going to come to the Bombay part, but we can't really ignore Mani sir
No,
sitting
no,
out here.
he's greater
so,
than me.
so I'm going to get to that.
His
Is it-
career is more interesting than mine, I must confess.
No. I want to talk about you as a couple all through, right? So is it you talked about divinity and your divine hand and work of. Do you think that it was that divinity again that guided you to meet him and
Absolutely.
get married to him? Because it happened at a time when you've said that you didn't expect it to happen. I'm going to
And I was
quote.
not, I was a confirmed bachelor and not young at all.
Yeah, I'm going to quote this.
It was a very late marriage
In one
for me.
interview, you said, I got married to him. This is 1999. I got married to him when I was in my mid 40s. I was a confirmed bachelor and I was a very successful playback singer. I had just finished Hum Dil De Chuke Sanam and Devdas, and overnight I was going to be a mother of his children. So, Mani sir, I'm going to ask this romantic period of how did you propose to Kavita ma'am? What happened? I'm going to get to your career part of it because, that is such an overwhelming subject. But what was the first meeting like with Kavita ma'am?
I was doing a project, so I was looking for some singer. So I asked one of my friends, can you send me those days cassettes are more popular? Can you send me some cassettes of different singers? So a whole bunch of cassettes I got of all the top singers at that time. So I was listening one by one. Then I picked this voice and said this will be more suitable and it has something extra which I was looking for. So I told my friend, this particular singer, this is what I wanted to find out the detail. Then in one of the projects she sang, and I was doing an album for Warner Brothers, Global Fusion album. So I was in Bombay doing some basic recordings. So she was singing in Shanmugananda that day. So he said, you should come and listen to the tape.
For viewers and listeners who live abroad, Shanmugananda Hall is in Bombay, today called Mumbai. So yes,
Mumbai.
Please go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry. So,
You don't need to tell that story.
so
Very odd story.
my friend said, you listen to the tape. Why don't you come and listen to her singing? She was singing that day.
Okay.
So from the studio, from one end, I gave a break to the musicians, engineer, drove 1 hour to go there. And by the time I went there was a break.
Oh.
So then I said, I can't make my musicians, everybody wait there. So let us go back. He said, no, sir, you should come and just at least meet her. So there he took me there. Immediately some guy who was taking a lot of pictures with everybody, he said, sir, please come and sit here.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe he recognized I'm a musician or something. I thought he's going to call her. He didn't call her for a while. I was sitting. Then later on he told me, sir, I'll send the picture of your daughter to your house. So,
Oh my God.
This is so crazy.
So he thought I was sitting
Just-
there to get the pictures or something. I'll send it to you. I said, okay. Then I didn't meet her and came back. Later on, I met her in a studio. Before that, we did a project for 100 children, 1,000 children, something like that.
That was
in
after
Delhi.
this.
After this. So we went for the recording, she came. Those days,
You shouldn't feel shy about it. I was just
I
saying
don't look
this.
like his daughter. It's like crazy.
No,
Somebody.
But you know what? It's your voice and it's your demeanor. If you close your eyes also and listen to anywhere, even till today, ma'am, you sound like a 16-year-old.
As long as you say I'm childlike and not childish, I'm okay.
Yes, yes, of course, you're childlike.
In addition to that, I used to get call, Mr. Krishnamurti. I used to say, one day I got frustrated and said, Mr. Krishnamurti died sometime back. Because our father died quite some time back. He died in 70s. And I used to get calls, sir, Mr. Krishnamurti, sir, can
So
I...
you fell in love with her voice before you met her.
Because of voice and because of singing. Strangely, long time back, I think Satish Sai Baba told her,
Huh.
Once with Baba always used to, like every time I went to and sang in Puttaparthi, he would always say, Krishnamurti, father's name, husband's name. So one day I said, Baba, it's my father's name. I'm not married and I don't want to get married. Then he said something in Telugu to his person and the person translated. He said, you will meet somebody because of your music and you will get married. There's no question.
Because of your music. So that's what
he said
happened.
it's music that will be binding for both of
And
you.
is that what is binding the two of you always?
I
that
think
is
so.
one of the things. Because also, later on as a person, because whenever I've met a lot of people, even in Western field, when some of them are totally down to earth and simple, even the success doesn't take over.
That's
But
true.
she's very, very simple and down to earth. And at the time, the children were, wherever I went, the children were with me. I couldn't leave them anywhere. They were very small. My daughter was around 11, 12, and she was very young. and son was 8, and other son was about 3. So all very, very young. So wherever I went for recording,
You were a single parent at that
yeah,
time.
single parent. So I used to take everywhere. Then she immediately gelled, and she used to play with the children. And she also said, I mean, she was very, very happy with the children running around and everything. So I thought, because I also had a big doubt, I'm already, I have 3 children and everything, 4 children. And with my own career running around all the time, because I was about 8 to 10 months I used to travel, not in one place. And fortunately, we had an aunt, Kaveri Amma, mother's sister. She was there after I shifted to India. She was there all along, and recently, unfortunately, she died a few months, 1 month back. So that was the time we met and recorded and started working. Then we I started doing some project exclusively for her, like writing. Before that, I used to do a lot of instrumental work. Then we started
Because
writing.
you had already achieved so much in your career before you met Kavita ji. I mean, you had started composing music for Hollywood, international concerts you were giving. You had already achieved fame in your life too, but it was a different audience, right? Compared to yours was more a popular culture,
Yes.
and yours was. I would say that those who came for your concerts already were people who have listened to you before, and they knew about. Was there a meeting of minds, or does music bind anybody? There is no difference. How does it work?
Whenever, you have an open mind and you do any kind of music, because the whole thought of global music, which I started earlier, I used to work with some of the finest African musicians, some of the
Yes,
finest.
this is another thing. So, for some people don't know the meaning of global music. My generation would know, but the young people would not understand. So, if you could explain what global music was and how you started this whole thing at that time.
In late 60s, whenever they talked about classical music in the West, they called it Occidental classical music, was Western classical music. Everything else they put under one carpet, saying world music, which included Indian classical music and Chinese traditional music, African traditional music. Every genre of music came under world music, which I was not happy, because we have probably the oldest classical system in the world. So we had Carnatic, and initially Carnatic system started from Vedas. After that, around the 12th, 13th century, the Mughals invaded. Then the music took some of the Persian influences, and we have now 2 beautiful systems: South Indian classical, Carnatic, and North Indian. So whenever they said ethnic music, we are playing world music, I used to always say in the interview and television, we are not playing ethnic music or folk music sitting down on the floor. The tradition of sitting down is because instrumentalists, vocalists, and everybody was sitting down and performing. So this is one of the oldest classical systems. So I started calling global music term. I created that and started doing festival with that term, where I called Western classical musicians. People like Lord Menuhin has been part of it.
Yeah.
When I started my Lakshminarayana festival, then we also had
Even Lord
Visions of
Menuhin
India.
sat with you on the
Yeah.
When we played in
Cross-legged.
UN, he sat down, and for the 40th year of India celebration in UN in New York, I sat down and played. He also sat down and played a piece I wrote for him.
I have a quote here which I had dug out, in which Yehudi Menuhin said about you, and I quote, "I find nothing more inspiring than the music making of my very great colleague Subramaniam. Each time I listen to him, I'm carried away in wonderment." What beautiful words.
Yeah.
Very kind of him to say that. He belonged to my father's generation. In fact, before I went to US, I have to tell you one thing, because the Indian violin earlier was mostly an accompanying instrument.
Correct.
He used to play with other people. My father's vision was to completely change it, to bring it to a world stage. He said, go and listen to Menuhin and big orchestras where the violinists are playing in the main, Royal Albert Hall or Carnegie Hall or Lincoln Center, Sydney Opera House. Like that, our Indian classical violin should be heard in that level, not organized by only Indian Sabhas or organization in India. So if you can do that, otherwise come back from US and practice your medicine. He told me about Menuhin. My elder brother Vaidyanathan told me about it. So I never heard of Menuhin. So I used to find one of the concerts I went and heard.
This is
Suddenly,
1960s?
this was in it's 80s, early 80s.
80s?
Early 80s.
Okay.
So, but
That time
my
you were
bro-
in US already.
that time. But about Menuhin, my father told me when I was in college in 65 to 70, that period,
Okay.
when I was in medical college that time. So I heard Jasha Haifez, one of the greatest violinists, probably one of the greatest of all
Ever,
time.
yeah.
Ever. So he used to mention all these violinists. All of a sudden, Menuhin, for one of the function, I got a call from Menuhin. So his secretary said, would you be able to come to Bonn to perform? He's celebrating his 70th birthday. I was so happy. He belonged to my father's generation. Father said, you should go and listen to him. We had no way of meeting those people, because they all had management and concert halls, so you know how it is.
Yeah.
Security and everything. All of a sudden I get a call. So I went and played there. Immediately after I finished playing, came to the stage and gave a big hug and said, I never heard anything.
You performed Carnatic,
Carnatic, my classical.
and they understood it all.
This was in Bonn, and
Bonn.
all Germans and Yehudi
Germans.
Menuhin
Yeah,
colleagues.
it was all German.
Because the grammar of Carnatic would be different, I'm guessing, from Western music.
Yeah, of course.
And still,
Yeah, because immediately after I playing, he came. I had never heard such a powerful playing and with emotion and everything. We should do something together.
wow.
So I thought, being a senior musician, being very kind and just saying kind words. But subsequently, when I was asked to play for the 40th year of India's independence in UN, so the Indian consulate there was desperately trying to get him. They were saying he's not available and everything. So finally, I was coaxed to call him and say that, can you find out whether he can come? So I said, you should have talked to his manager, because I cannot just call and say, can you come and play for India in the UN? So I called any case. He returned the call next day. First, they told the embassy that he's not available, he's touring, he's not free, the manager told. In fact, when I called next day, he called back and said, Maestro, what do you want me to do?
He called you Maestro.
Maestro, I said, I was shocked. Then he said, please call me Yehudi, don't call me Lord. Because at that time he was got that title,
Lord Menuhin.
Lord Menuhin. Now before that it was Sir Menuhin.
Huh.
So he said, Sir Menuhin. He said, call me Yehudi. Then he said, Maestro, what? I said, this is a function. Indian embassy asked me to ask you whether you are free. He said, I'll do it for you. What do you want me to do? He said, this day, 2 dates are available. And he was supposed to play alone, Bach. I was supposed to play Indian classical Carnatic music. He said, what shall we? Immediately he said, what can we do together? So I said, whatever you suggest. I thought he would suggest a Bach double concerto, because Bach has written many things for 2 violins, Vivaldi and things like that. He said, can you write something? I'd like to play with you.
And you had already heard Bach and you knew.
Yeah, because I did
He
my
had did his
masters.
masters in Western music
Western.
after his medicine.
Oh, I see.
I went to US to do my masters in
Okay.
composing and Western music and all those things. So all of a sudden he said, why don't you write something for me? So that's how we started playing. Immediately after the thing, he made a statement he wrote his own book, and in that book he made all these statements and everything. We became very close friends. Everywhere he did the major all world violin culture, everything. I was
But
always
one thing
there.
I have to say about somebody like Lord Menuhin, this is what, some of these great Western artists, they're so humble. He just said, don't worry about anything. You want me on that day for a rehearsal thing, I will arrive on my own.
Yeah.
And I will book myself on my own. You tell me where I have to come for a rehearsal. and
No
that.
management involved.
There was
nothing.
no, I'm Lord Menuhin, here's Subramaniam. I would need an entourage to receive me at the airport.
Wow.
Nothing. Because he's playing for India. He could have said somebody from the embassy should come. Nothing. He said, I will reach you. Tell me where I have to come for a rehearsal.
So simple.
This is
Humble
great
and-
humility, which I think every artist should learn.
Absolutely.
And since then he became
That you're
very
not bigger
close.
than your music.
Huh.
Yeah.
The first thing when I started my festival, Lakshminarayana Global Music Festival, I wanted him to be the patron, because my father has told a lot about him. Father passed away. Immediately he said, my pleasure, my honor. He sent a letter. And on the top of it, the recording, after I finished playing, he said, we should record this piece. I said, I have to talk to your management. He was exclusively with EMI at that time. You cannot record with anybody. He said, no, I'm coming to LA. Let us record. Went to a studio, no in between it, nobody, no managers, no company. I finished recording. Then he said, we should release it. I said, I can't release it because you are exclusively with EMI. I have to get permission. I was not with EMI. At that time, I was doing some for Sony, some for Warner Brothers, different companies. They all have their own thing. He said, don't worry. After a week, I get a letter from the chairman of EMI. This is on behalf of Lord Menuhin that he wanted you to release it. Whatever way you want to do it, you can do it.
How nice. How nice. I mean, sometimes companies can be hard-nosed.
Yeah.
But they were obviously not, because there was so much beauty in that piece. Probably that's why they just, let go of it, so that there's more audience who can get access to
and
it.
also, I think somebody like Lord Menuhin commanded so much of love and affection and
Yeah.
respect. He had
And
everybody
for him,
respected
that
and
to be
loved him.
released, he wanted that to be released,
Yeah.
means also they will respect that also.
Oh, correct.
He's such a
Yeah.
fantastic, legendary musician.
But he said there's also film scores that you did.
Yes.
So there was Salam Bombay, Mississippi Masala, there was Bertolucci's Little Buddha, Cotton Mary of Merchant Ivory. Now, your repertoire is so large. So you've just spoken about Yehudi Menuhin, and then I'm coming to Hollywood. How did you make transitions? Does it come easily? Or do you feel that this is a commercial thing, I need to do this to sustain the other part of it?
I was honestly didn't want to get into the film thing, because I was more interested in writing symphony orchestral things, because I started writing for major orchestras. We did something with the New York Philharmonic, Moscow Symphony, everything. So at the time, Meera was doing her first film, the Salam Bombay. I didn't know anything about the film. So when I was approached, I told that, my elder brother, Vaidyanathan, was doing a lot of films in Chennai. He was a fantastic musician, and he was working with all the top music directors. So I said he'll be a better choice and everything. So she spoke to Viji, my first wife, who unfortunately passed away because of brain tumor and things. She spoke to her and somehow I want him to do it, because we have written the whole story listening to his classical CD of Kirvani, some album. So then she said, at least why don't you go see that before you reject it? I said, it's better my elder brother can do a better job than what I can do. But then finally I stopped over in New York, flying between France and Los Angeles. She took me and in a preview theater played it. That movie really touched me. She said this is a real story where all the children just get caught in the whole system of thing. They are caught for a little theft and they become criminals because no representation. They stay in the prison with all the circumstances. So I said I'll do it, and she didn't have much budget and everything. I said okay, I'll do it and come 2 days to Los Angeles. I started. So I didn't expect anything from that film, and I didn't. Thought anything is going to come out. All of a sudden, I got a call saying the Cannes Film Festival has selected as a thing. They do is become a big thing. Subsequently, she said she wanted me to do the next film. This other
We just
with Denzel Washington.
Mississippi Masala.
Mississippi Masala.
That also I did. Then later on, Bernardo Bertolucci approached me to do the Little Buddha. At that time, that was the time, I have lost Vijay and things like that. I said, I don't want to. I won't be able to do anything for a while. You can find a lot of other people. At that time, we found out she had major tumor. So after 6 months, he called me again. I'm still waiting for you. If you can come and just see one particular scene, I want you to play. Your violin has to be there. So I was going to see one of my spiritual Swamijis, Ganapati Sachidananda Swamiji. He was in Holland. So I stopped over in London. I still remember, I never met him. So I went to they picked me up from London, went to the studio. He was standing in the entrance, tall, big, very strong person. Bernardo, he gave a big hug and said, thanks for coming. You just take half an hour and you finish it and you leave. No pressure, no nothing. I want you to play. Because there was a scene where Buddha was become self-realized and things like that. That particular scene, he said, I don't want any dialogue, anything which can spoil the whole thing. So you just play, look at it and play once. So they put a big screen. I just saw that once and played. That's it. He said, thank you, and I got what I wanted. Thanks for coming. So it's all happened like that. I was not planning.
Nothing planned.
A lot of films I got into not because I wanted to, because that was not my. Basically I wanted to take this violin, what my father's dream was, all over the world and play Indian classical, write major orchestral things,
Yeah.
which we are also doing soon here.
So you talk about this period in your life when your wife passed away, you had little children. I've always wondered what these personal traumas, how they impact on artists. I'm sure you also experience this, that, you have a bad day, but you have to sing this happy song. Where do you, you need, there's one part in which you said, and I quote this, "It's true that many of us can manage to do a show mechanical without the audience understanding it, but I need to have a peaceful mind and have to be focused to perform." So I've always wondered that, when an artist is going through a personal trauma or you're going through a stressful period in your life, how do you still manage to bring yourself in that bubble where you are one with your music, and that personal stuff is not evident at all when you're on stage or when you're composing? How do you bring that strength?
Personally, what I have done, anytime when my mother died, almost for several months I couldn't play the violin, so I cancelled. I didn't do anything. That was the time Zubin visited Los Angeles and said, Maestro Zubin Mehta said, "You have to write a piece." At that time my father was there, my elder brother was there. I said, "At this point I don't think I'll be able to do anything. I'm not even thinking about anything. I can't do anything." And then my father said, "This is New York Philharmonic and everything. Don't say no, because this is what we have to do it. Your mother will be happy. Why don't you write a piece for her?" After 6 months later or so, I started, much later, I started writing for her. Many times after father died, I absolutely didn't want to touch the violin, because father was responsible for this violin to become globally known.
Yeah.
I think he was my guru and he was a teacher. All this vision he had, I went through the vision, that's it, because it was not my vision, it was his vision. So today I played practically any major concert hall when they open, or any big celebration. We have played Indian music there, which has never, that was his dream. So after he passed away, I said, my cycle is over, so what other dream? He is no more. That was the time which he said, he wanted you to continue to play. When mother died, he said, "Don't cancel New York Philharmonic, you should write the piece. Why don't you start a festival on his honor? We will do a festival." That's how we started the Lakshminarayana Global Music Festival as a tribute to him. But I didn't play for a while.
And what a big thing it has become.
It has become.
It's something that everybody looks forward to. And it was something that people, it was not restricted just to India. That's what I like. 25 countries or something that you have
75
held
cities
it.
and all over the world.
Yes, 75 cities. That's phenomenal. That music has gone, and that's your contribution too. So I'm going to speak with Kavita ji now, if you permit me. Your life, one, I want to ask you about that personal, how do you, because 40,000, 50,000 songs, that's like a huge repertoire.
I wouldn't say it's 40, 50,000 songs. I normally say it's about 25 to 30 maybe.
Okay.
I haven't counted, but I think 25.
We are trying to count now.
Yeah, trying to count.
I think about around 25, I would say.
But like I said, one, that question. And the second is that, your life revolved around classical Indian music and film music. So when you met Mani sir, his music was kind of different.
Yeah.
What attracted you to his art, and how did you adapt to that?
Actually, I was a little odd when he called me to sing, and I was very nervous because I know that singing for him would have been a little different. The composition would have been a little different because he's not a film composer in that, but things are different. And his Global Fusion album, I didn't know what fusion was all about. It was confusion for me. I said, what will I do? But I sang that piece, and after that, I must say that to a certain extent, all this has been a learning experience for me in a very, very different way. Like suddenly being thrown into Lincoln Center, saying, okay, the concert is happening. You have to sing a piece called Ganga. It's based on Rag Jog, and there's
George Duke
and Stanley Clarke and all these jazz artists there. What will I?
And you had not done any jazz, even though R.D. Burman and all, nothing, no jazz.
I have no formal training of all that. I've learned
Okay.
Hindustani music and I got into films.
Okay.
So for me to handle all these things was a little difficult. But I must say that he has been, in his own way, he has been a teacher. He has shown me, and also I learned to listen to instrumentalists, see what they are playing, how the harmony goes and how they are playing over it. And they all come, and they also don't get so many rehearsals. They just come on stage, they listen to the harmonies, and a little while they're on their own. So I realized that every musician should have an individualistic approach to music. Singing a 5-minute songs was my forte, like going to the studio, learning the composer's song and singing. But here when I'm thrown on stage and saying, okay, you have to do some alaps on your own, it is a very difficult job for me. But slowly, and also orchestral work, you know what happens, like if when I'm doing Freedom Symphony or Bharat Symphony, which I'm doing in Delhi, I don't read Western music. So everybody has a score in front.
Yeah.
In my case, I have to memorize all my entry and my how many times what I have to sing, because I can't sing anything extra like a film song because the orchestra will continue to play. So I have to sing my portions exactly where I have to sing my portions.
Okay.
So it's a test of memory and those kind of skills that. So all those things, I think he has really been a wonderful teacher
It's a
for
more
me.
restrictive form?
In a way, it is when you play with a full symphony orchestra, for them everything is written.
Everything is. It's like a film song, like Hawa Hawaii also. I cannot, in front of a recording mic, Hawa Hawaii, as many times as it comes, I have to sing because the music is entirely, the musicians are playing and I'm doing live with them. So it's a 6-minute song. It has to be a 6-minute song.
Okay.
I suddenly can't sing one line twice. Then I'll go wrong, right?
Oh.
Similarly with a symphony orchestra like Bharat
Sometimes
Symphony.
like sitting in a concert, when you're listening, it would seem that you're in the mood to ek aur line ga liya.
Live concert baat alag hai. But when you're actually recording.
Oh, recording.
Even but recording
cut
is
it
fine.
off?
No, those days we did 6-minute songs at a stretch. You're talking about the
It's
80s and
unbelievable,
90s.
no?
Whole of 80s and early 90s, all my songs were done in one stretch. Hawa Hawaii, one stretch. Roop Ki Rani, Chorunga Raja, even my most difficult songs, all in one stretch.
Hawa Hawaii you did in one stretch?
Yes, there was no dubbing facilities those days. If I made a mistake, the musicians have to play everything again for me. And I was a junior singer. And there were a lot of senior musicians there. So, like everybody would look at their watch if I make a mistake and say, iske liye phir se gana bajao, you know, that kind of a thing. So I'd literally be on my toes कि कितनी बार lines गाने हैं, जितना हो सके सुर में हो, because there were no pitch correction machines also, और अल्फाज ठीक हो, expression ho. So everything, the 6-minute song, 1, 2, 3, 4, it starts, till the end you have to go.
And today, one word.
Yeah, today's one word, yeah. So technology has... Now wait, artificial intelligence, God knows.
Say Hawa, and then after 15 minutes say Hawaii.
Yes.
And then stick it together.
Yes.
Right? It's not that tape which we used to be earlier. Like I think today's generation won't even figure out of even one cut. You know, an actor doing one cut long dialogue delivery, that's not there at all. There are so many cuts.
Even with the symphony orchestra, there are no cuts. Like once I go up on stage and I have to do Bharat Symphony, if I make a mistake, I hope I can catch it at the right point again.
Kavita ji, I want to ask you one question which my research team dug out, which I didn't know. And I was told that your name was Sharada Krishnamurti, and Hemanda made you change the name. What happened? Can I get the backstory on that?
Actually, I am Sharda. My college friends still call me Sharda. But it's just that this could have been 1972 when I was singing. I very clearly remember I was singing in an auditorium called Birla Auditorium in Bombay. So right when my name was announced and I went up on stage and audience started shouting, Titli Udi, Titli Udi, Titli Udi. That's sung by the other Sharda ji.
Yeah. तितली उड़ी उड़ जो चली
उड़ जो चली फूल ने कहा
आजा मेरे पास मैं कहूँ मैं चली कुछ आजाद or something like that. You know what, I have to tell you this, that whenever my children's exams would be over, this was my song I would say, Titli udi, today I'm free. उड़ जो चली हवा ने कहा
It's actually a very cute song.
मैं कहूँ मैं चली आजाद. I'm free today.
Very cute song. Anyway, but they're like a real, you know, I was a college girl, but then my whole demeanor was like a school girl. You know what I mean? I was one of those real darpokes. So I'd go up on stage and say, आप जो शारदा समझ रहे हैं, मैं वो शारदा नहीं हूँ. मैं एक नई सिंगर हूँ और मैं आपको लता जी के कुछ गाने सुना रही हूँ. And I would start singing. So after my Hemantada just said, this tall, very handsome, tall man saying, Cholbina, naam bodle phelo, change your name. So my mamani, my Bengali mamani who is responsible for my career, so she said, Hemantada, I think we need to change her name. So she came home and that night she told me, my Didi in Delhi, who's my Mamani's daughter, only daughter. So she's my Didi. So Didi is Nandita. So Mom says, she's Nandita, aaj theki tui Kavita.
Oh.
And then we went to the legal place and got my name from Sharda to Kavita. And I was very uncomfortable because honestly, I like Sharda. I thought Kavita is a very common name, you know what I mean? Very, very common. Sharda has a bit of a personality.
But see, Sharda is on your lips, in
But
your
you
tongue.
know-
No? Blessed by
but
Sharda
I must
Devi.
say that Kavita really brought me luck.
Yeah. Sure.
It's got so much
Sharda
work
gave
with-
you the talent and God-given talent, and Kavita brought you the luck,
Kavita
right?
brought me luck, yes.
What was it like? You were mentioning Mohammad Rafi, Manna Day,
Yeah.
those greats.
Oh, absolutely.
And today there are so many songs, and no offense to today's artists, but seriously, when you're feeling down and out and you want to listen to something, I would still go to a Rafi, I would still go to a Manna
Yes,
Day, and my
absolutely.
parents would still go to a KL Sehgal, though
Yes.
KL Sehgal was way before their time,
Yes.
We would still go to those greats. What was it like to perform with them?
One thing uniformly I felt about all of them, whether it was Hemantada, whether it was Mannada, then Talat Saab, all these people, Mukesh ji, these are the people I performed on stage with, and Mahendra Kapoor ji, that extreme dedication to their work. And that came first. And they were all basically very, very simple, straightforward people. And there was, when they met each other, there was a lot of, there were times when Shanmukhananda Hall or Brabant Stadium concert, backstage I went, and there was Lataji in one side, and in this place, Manada, Mohammad Rafi Saab, everybody sitting together, chatting together, and waiting for their turns to sing two songs. And I was a junior singer who went with Manada to sing, one song like, what did I sing? I think I said Kabhi Kabhi Mere Dil Mein. That song I sang, and then I was going to sing Ye Raat Bhigi Bhigi and all those duets with Manada. But I just saw all of them had when they went up on stage, it was like, this is my first concert. And Manada is, with him, 18 years, I saw what dedication was to music.
He was trained classical singer.
Trained classical, but his riyaz, his going up on stage, and the sincerity, and sometimes even if he used to have a lot of voice trouble, colds and coughs, not to make sure he doesn't miss his note, he would just not worry about it. Just close his eyes and just do those phrases. He's making sure every note is perfect. That's what I learned, that, they were so conscious about their singing. And I remember one particular song I was learning from him, Tum Gagan Ke Chandrama.
Oh, that's
It's the first time I was going to sing on stage. He says, Chalo rehearsal karte hain. So when I sang one particular line, he said, Kyun? Why are you taking Sahara of that note and singing? I didn't understand. He says, you step on that note and then you go to that higher note. Why? Why can't you go directly? You see, that's an extra note in your singing and it spoils the word.
But Tum Gagan Ke Chandrama is not higher notes, no? They're the low.
No,
it's
low
a very
notes.
low note, no?
Tum Mahasagar ki Seema. So from Tum Mahas, from Pa it goes to Sa, okay? So you step on that Pa and then you go to Sa. So he says you can do straight from Pa to Sa instead of stepping onto it. So I was just thinking that how with a microscope they look at every song with a microscope when they go to a mic, in front of a mic. And he and Lataji and all, not one extra note required in what they are singing. They are so precise that they don't want to do extra embellishments, harkat, murki, which is not required in a song. They won't sing it. Whatever they've sung, you notice it's absolute perfection. There's not one extra note. You don't, when Lataji sings, you feel this is the only way the song can be sung. There's no need to do any extra harkat or murki to pass on the emotion. The simpler the song, the more straightforward you pass on the emotion, the more you simplify the song. And the standing notes of a song are the most important. When your standing notes are beautiful and every standing note has depth, then that emotion will reach you. Instead of doing 400 murkis, you don't need to do that in a film song. You're singing for the masses. The simpler you sing, you listening to that song will say, ये तो बहुत आसान है, मैं भी गा सकती हूँ. It's only when you sing you realize how difficult it is to sing in sur like that.
Yeah.
That's a gift those
Which
singers
was one
give.
of the most difficult songs that you would think that it took a lot of effort from your part?
Of course, Hawa Hawaii was difficult for me at that time because I was a new singer, and for me to sing a very naughty song, I didn't feel I had the acting ability to sing It did pose a certain problems, and those pakchiki lakichi to get them all correct in the mic, because as I told you,
I love singing that.
It's one take,
I
okay.
just love it. When nobody's listening, I could go to the bathroom and just do the pakchika pakchika. It makes no sense, but when you're feeling, that life is not fair, you just do that and just pick it up. And I'm not looking at Sri Devi or anything.
Yeah.
It's just that.
It's a positive aspect of the song, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Tu Hi Re was little difficult for me. I told Rahman ji also. I said, "Aapne to mere ko Z scale mein gawa rahe." Rahman sings very high.
Yeah.
So if you remember my lines in Pyar Ki Raahon mein, it's so high.
But it seems very effortless when
No,
you do it.
No. I struggled. First 2 times I did it. Then actually his Murthy ji, his assistant and all, they all did the song. Then when Rahman walked in, he said, "Can you sing those 2 lines for me again?" It's very sweetly. He said, "I think you can do it this a little better, no? With a little less strain." And I said, "Hey Bajrang Bali." And I started that song. I said, ये तो बहुत ऊंचा है मेरे लिए. But then still I said, I had to do this song. I wanted to do it. Then I did it. And
So
he
is
said,
it what,
"It's okay."
breath control? How do you take that pitch so high?
तो high है. You have to a certain extent, I'll tell you, when you sing that high, sometimes when it's that high, it may not be your real voice, it might be your head voice. So that transition from chest voice to head voice has to be very smooth. If it is not smooth, you will hear the strain. You will hear the strain in the voice, even if it's not a crack. You'll feel, when you listen to a singer, sometimes you feel, this is the highest note. इसके ऊपर ये singer high, इससे ऊपर जा ही नहीं सकता. That should never come in a song. You should feel the singer can sing higher than this. ये तो बाएं हाथ का खेल है. That's a success of a easy, smooth singing, no? So,
and who did you sing very easily with?
By the way, third song was Hum Dil De Chuke Sanam, the title song.
Even that goes very high.
High के अलावा मैं तो sinus की, I'm always with a blocked nose. Hum, Sanam, all these words in a humming. Yes.
Yeah, it's anyway nasal. And then nasal and high pitch must be double whammy.
How many battles I've fought in my career.
Yeah.
With my sinus,
You
I don't
do
know.
this high pitch, and when the actress is doing with this very,
I know, you feel so annoyed, no? They do it so easily.
Without a slight thing on the face, because they are lip syncing, right? The effort is not showing only, that it's all these lines are straining when you go.
Absolutely.
I can imagine you saying,
but have you seen one song of Shabana Ji's, which I did for a film called Saaz? I always do Shashtang Pranam to Shabana Ji for that song. Badal Umad Ghumad. It's a classical kind of song. She's a singer, professional singer, and she's singing on stage. So when those little tans come, literally you see her veins. I don't know how she managed it. Every word. Believe me, you see that and it's Shabana Ji singing it. I have not sung that song. Her lip movement for any song is amazing.
But she was playing the role of a singer, so she must have trained
but any song, if you have heard Mile Sur Mera Tumhara?
Of course, yes.
आपको लगता है कि मैंने गाया? नहीं लगता कि उन्होंने खुद गाया? इसका उनका ऐसा है lip movement का. ऐसा होता है उनका. She's too good.
Even Arth, the songs that in that it really feels that she's singing in those
she's one
moments.
artist who emotes every word.
Even Amitabh Bachchan, I've seen that it's, even though so many people have sung for him, and even like you were talking about Kabhi Kabhi, like Main Pal Do Pal Ka Shair Hu, Mukesh ji has sung for him. And his Mukesh ji's voice is so different from Amitabh Bachchan, but still it felt like it's him.
That's
singing.
really artistry from the point of view of a actor.
But how does it feel at that time when you see did you have a favorite actress then you said, theek hai, like she sung, like you said, Shabana Azmi, that I liked singing for this person very
Madhuri
much.
Dixit.
Madhuri.
She is so good.
Yeah.
Her eyes speak, her lip, like if you see Devdas, Mar Dala. The way she has expressed Mardala.
That Mardala
Too
song
good,
is,
no? She's so
That's,
good.
you have sung Mardala in so many different ways. In every line has a nuance to Mardala, and she conveys that with her expressions.
Yes, she's very good.
One angle she's doing Mardala here, one
Yeah.
angle she's doing
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
She's so good. She's terrific.
I think they gelled very well
Yes,
with
yes.
you doing that. But then again,
Mera
like you,
Piya Ghar Aaya O Ramji, all the songs for her, I really
that
enjoyed
energy
singing.
in
Yeah,
Piya
she's got
Ghar
energy.
Aaya O Ramji.
And another song which I thought she was terrific was Ke Sera Sera.
That is
She
such
was
a
so
difficult.
good, no? Her
How did you
dancing,
do that?
the movement, her.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she's too good.
And even in that, it's a high pitch.
For me, it's low pitch. Shankar is touching the heaven. But my lines were Pyar is
He's
Zindagi,
fast.
Pyar is that.
Yeah.
So it was, for me, it's a very rare scale. You normally
Yeah,
don't get to
correct.
see low, so low.
No, but Ke
Right,
Sera
right.
Sera, you took high pitch.
That part is high, but the antras were all low.
Those were low. We've gone into
Bollywood.
we've gone into Bollywood. So let's come back to Mani sir. And your companion. Your other companion, or should I say your main companion?
Main.
No, no, no.
So whom does he love more, Kavita ji?
Honestly, the violin comes first.
The violin comes first.
Absolutely.
Tell us the story of this violin, sir.
You know, this 1984 or so, there's a company called Barkisbury. They were making special violins which you could use in an open air. Because normally in a concert hall, you use a microphone and it doesn't feedback. When you play in an open air with,
It does a feedback.
If they, after a
Explain to people what a feedback is.
feedback is,
Those who don't know the.
when they keep the microphone, increase the volume more than what
It's
it
like a boom?
can. You started hearing a boom, hum, boom, all those things, because it can be microphone position if it is. You can't go too close to play also. You have to be some distance because of the bowing the violin, and I do a lot of cross bowings also. So I have to keep a distance. So they made this violin and gave it to Stéphane Grappelli. And Stéphane Grappelli said, if anybody can play the violin, Stéphane Grappelli was one of the greatest, probably the greatest jazz violinist from France.
Absolutely amazing violinist. My
But you
God.
are the violin Chakravarti.
Thank you. Thank you. So he said, if anybody can play the violin, you should give it to Dr. Subramaniam. He will make that sing. So they gave me and requested me whether I can use it for the next concert, which was coming up, was the New York Philharmonic, the piece which I wrote for my mother, Fantasy Without Limits, Fantasy on Vedic Chants. So they gave me, but those days it used to be 4-string violin. This advantage of this was like I have a direct connection to the amplifier or the mic out. So
It has a lead that goes into
yeah,
that.
there is a wire, or nowadays there's a wireless, which I use. So even when you play with the full orchestra, otherwise, you'll get totally drowned with 100 musicians playing, and you are playing with the microphone more than certain thing. Those days there was feedback. Now better things have come. So they gave it to me. I started playing. The first concert, was this 5-string violin. It was with all the memory of my mother, and which these things, my father was also there. So I was totally not even prepared to play. I didn't want to play because it was so, remembering my mother, here I am playing a concert, like a celebration, things like that. But once the sound took over, normally whenever I start going, the sound takes over, I forget everything. So after the concert, I realized in the people, screaming and the ovation and
He always
shouting.
says, that the sound takes over.
So the audience was screaming, the continuous club. It was a live radio broadcast. So I have to come few times. My father was very happy. Say, he made a big tribute.
They want an encore again and
They
again.
wanted encore. But we didn't have an encore because we were not prepared, because originally it was supposed to be one piece, major piece. And they were also celebrating one of the very great American composers' birthday, Aaron Copland. He was 90 years at that time, 85. So some function was happening. This main concert was for. So from that time, I really, really liked the violin, because also the sound took over, and also I almost felt like, some positive things were there. My mother was there, and something like, sometimes you feel some positive things, and something inner voice start leading you. So from that time, whenever I play, even at any difficult time when I'm not well, or very under a lot of pressure, everything, I just think of my Ganesha and my father, and the sound takes over. So a lot of my personal health, whatever, if I'm going through pain or not able to sit and stand up, everything I forget. Sound take. So I totally got attached to this violin. I've been using it, and quite a few times there was a lot of something went wrong, like somebody broke the bridge, so I have to fix it again. And recently, December 1st week, just a day before my concert in Carnegie Hall with December 1st week with Swamiji, Mysore Swamiji, the whole thing didn't work. The knob didn't work.
I like how he just drops it like that. New York Philharmonic, Carnegie Hall. He's just like, when I was here, when I was there.
No, see, the whole thing. So I spent 6 hours. I talked to this
You
guy.
got a fantastic friend who
David
repairs-
Gage.
Who's saved?
David Gage is a big, he owns a shop, and he's also an electronic specialist. So I called him and said, tomorrow is my concert. Something has to be done.
They'll never say, okay, I'm just coming to, they never do that, no?
They never do.
He
They
said,
had to fix an
Subramaniam, I'll be
appointment.
there in the shop for you, come.
So he asked the technicians to come. They went overtime because usually, Friday everybody goes home earlier because 4 o'clock they go home because they plan their weekend.
Weekends.
He sat himself,
This was in New York, yeah.
worked till 6, 7 and fixed all the 3 things. So the first concert again was there recently there. Now I played here yesterday and a few other
So
places.
it's okay now. It's
back to
touchwood.
Back to. Yeah.
to
So
functioning.
we were before we started recording the podcast, we were talking about instrumental music and vocal music, and about how when you began with the violin at that time, all the concerts were more concentrated on vocal musicians, and the fan following, the kacheris, everything was oriented towards vocal musicians. Tell us how you decided to become an instrumental musician, and that took you abroad, and that got you fame. Have things changed then and now? So just tell me the story.
This basic thought of making the violin internationally known, Indian classical violin, was my father's idea. Because he was a fantastic violinist. Those days, if you play with a vocalist, and sometimes, you have to always play, you don't need that much technique, you always support it. Sometimes if you get more attention, then...
They didn't like it.
They didn't like it. You are dropped and then all those things.
Yeah.
So he said, we have to develop this and we have to do it as solo instrument, like go and listen to Menuhin, go and listen to Grappelli and major orchestras. We have to have our Indian violin heard in all those places. That was his dream. So after I finished my medicine, I was interested in doing masters in Western classical music. So we said, you go there, but don't play any house concerts. If you can work and make it an internationally known instrument, then you stay there or come back and practice medicine. Don't have to suffer for trying to be a accompanist and things like that. But as luck would have it, I went there to do my masters. It was supposed to be 2 years because here, you have to do those days, you have to have a bachelor's in music before you do masters in music. So here they said, after finishing my medicine, which is 6.5 years, they said, if you want to do masters in music, go and do a diploma of 4 years somewhere, and then do BA music too, and then come back to masters. That means another 6 years. I said, no, I'm not going to do another 6 years to get a bachelor's in music. I sent my tape, applied in a couple of places. Both the places gave me full scholarship.
Where was this?
In MA. One was in California Institute of Arts. It was started by Walt Disney. It was a very creative new place. Another place was in Ithaca, New York. So then my father found out Ithaca was a lot of snow, a lot of cold. He said, you'll get sick. Go to California, it is better for you. And also you had some friends there. So I went to California.
Sunny California, always. Right? So many Indian musicians have made that their home, that state.
Yeah, Alek Kansab had a school in Bay Area. And things
I
like
think
that.
Ravi Shankarji was also in
Zakir
San Diego.
Hussain
Zakirji is
also
also there in San
there.
Francisco.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, I went there to do my master's. I was so homesick. I wanted to finish it. I finished everything in 9 months. What a difference here. They said I have to do another 6 years to do my bachelor's. I almost finished my master's in 9 months, all the requirements. I worked so hard because I didn't have a BA in music, so all the subjects I have to cover. Most of the time I was in the library.
That's so Indian. No? The 1 year course you finish in 6 months.
6 months.
4 year
It's
course
so
you finish
hard
in
work,
1 year. No?
Yeah. Hard work.
Hard work, and also eaten up with guilt that I don't want to waste my father's money.
Yes,
rupees
absolutely.
spending
In
in
those
dollars.
days, they were not.
No,
Yeah.
They were
for
so
me,
poor.
it was
yeah.
all full scholarship. There was no money was involved.
Ah, I see.
Complete full scholarship. But I was homesick. I wanted to be with my father and mother and brothers and sisters. So it was like nothing else, no problem. Because
No
everything was-
Indian food, no, in the 60s,
Indian
70s.
food slowly
model.
I started getting, having pickle with bread in the lunch and soup with bread and pickle. So one of my friend brought this mango pickle and the variety of,
There were no MTR idlis, mixes
Nothing
and all that.
those days,
Nothing
nothing
those
Nothing in
days.
those days, yeah.
Only Campbell soup.
Camel soup, yeah.
Ooh, I can't drink that.
In any case, so for a short time, I wanted to finish it and come back. That time, Dean said, I can't let you go because it's a 2-year course. But since your teachers have recommending you so highly, if you want, you go back and come after 1 year and give a concert. On that basis, I can do. Otherwise, the better choice is I'll give you a part-time faculty job. Why don't you work here for another 9 months and get your degree and go? So that way you don't have to spend your money and come back. Things. So I spoke to my father. He said, okay, instead if you come back and we have to buy a ticket and go, it'll be difficult. They are giving you a full scholarship for 2 years. Your ticket is paid, everything paid, you finish it. That was the time I was asked to go on a major tour with George Harrison was promoting with Ravi Shankar and family and friends. We played all over the place.
Oh my God. See what I mean? George Harrison, okay. I want to do that.
was
When
a
you're saying and Ravi Shankar, okay.
That was a fantastic tour.
What
was-
a tour that must have
That was
been.
a fabulous tour.
So all of a sudden,
Did you realize, sir, at that moment that, here is the Beatles, here is Ravi Shankar?
I
Was
think-
it that overwhelming experience? I mean, of course, you're talented at that stage, but you're young.
At that time, I was fascinated by people like Menuhin and Joshua Heifetz and Beethoven and Bach and people like that who compose things like that, Bach and things like that. But for me, at that time, I told my father, I won't be able to go to this tour because, I just got a job how can I ask for 4 months leave again? Because he already made... No, because
You rethought about performing with Ravi Shankar and with
No,
Pandit
because-
Ravi Shankar and with...
No, because the thing was, my father, Raviji, wrote a note and sent it to me. And my father also said, if you can go to the tour. I said, I have to ask permission because I just got a job. Because instead of going back to India, Dean has been kind enough to give me a job and say, you teach.
This is so Indian again. I'm telling you that job is so
No,
important.
because otherwise, I
Yeah,
won't get
true.
my MA. For me, I need
Your father will say, come
Piece
back and
of
do
paper
medicine.
was very difficult.
And
What an interesting story. Go ahead, sir.
So I called my father. He said, no, ask the dean. If you give permission, you go. I went to the dean and told him, sorry, you give me a job. I'm very happy. But I also want 3 or 4 months leave because my father said there's an offer to go on a tour, major. I said, with who are you going? I said, George Harrison of the Beatles. He is doing this tour with Raviji and some places. He was also performing in US, Europe, everything. Only Raviji and his group and all of us. I was featured South Indian soloist. At that time, I didn't know where the Royal Albert Hall, anything, all those things. So Dean said, as long as you mentioned you are from Kalat, you go. Fine, no problem.
Such a nice man.
Branding.
Branding.
But such a kind person, I would
Plus,
say.
there's no salary cut also.
Okay.
You would have said, 4 months leave without pay and all those things. So he said, no, you go, do whatever you want, come back. And wherever you can, you mention Kalat. I said, sweet. So we went on a tour. That was the tour I was playing with. One of the concerts was in Royal Albert Hall.
And the fun thing, when he tells me about the thing, he says they had an aeroplane which was painted, which had the name painted on it. What was it called?
George has chartered a plane. And he had the record company called Dark Horse.
Okay.
So this
that,
plane had Dark Horse written on it, and the
emblem
whole
of,
troop would go in this
the
plane.
symbol of Dark Horse painted in the plane. So it's such a fantastic tour. They had a Indian cook. So we used to have regular Indian food, but he used to work like rears.
For you and for Pandit Ravi Shankar, I'm guessing.
And there were other Indian musicians.
There were other Indian
Shivakumar Sharma was there.
Pandit Shivakumar Sharma.
Hariji was there. Sultan
there.
Khan
Hari
Sahab.
Prasad Chaurasia.
Yes, Sultan Khan Sahab.
Sultan
Sultan
Khan.
Khan
And Alaraka ji.
He was the youngest, actually.
What a
was-
troop this was.
Yeah.
This was,
Can you
We
imagine
were
what a
all-
troop it was?
Yeah.
Amazing.
All of a sudden,
Today it's not possible.
Yeah, it's not possible. They're
Today
all
and you all perform together. I mean, today there'd be ego issues. Kiska
Yeah.
pehle chalega, kiska baad mein. How did that work, sir, with all these
But
people?
I have to tell you that we did a project called Visions of India. This for Lakshminarayana Festival, where my vision was to bring different sounds of India from different parts of India. So one should be able to listen to the sounds and visualize. He started with Bengal, this folk artist
Purna
Purna
Das
Das. Now he's 90 plus.
Yeah.
He has done a lot of work with Bob Dylan and everything. He was one of the earliest to do collaboration. So I thought of this idea, I should have Purna Das singing, and then I should have Balamurali ji singing Indian classical, then Gangubai ji singing North Indian classical.
Oh, yeah.
And
Did
then-
Gangubai Hangal come?
Yes,
actually?
she
I'll
came.
tell you. So first
She
issue
is
was,
amazing.
then Kavita singing Bollywood, my daughter Bindu was singing English song, and
We had
Pankaj Udas,
the Langars doing the Rajasthani music.
Rajasthani,
Then Vadali brothers doing the
Badali
Punjabi
brothers.
music.
So when I started the project, everybody said it's not going to work because classical musician won't stand next to a folk artist.
Yeah.
And same thing, Bollywood people won't be happy standing next to a classical or folk
कि
artist.
इनका आलाप ही नहीं हो रहा है हम लोग का चांस कहाँ मिलेगा you know that I have
Yeah,
seen
yeah.
many singers getting irritated with the length of alaps.
Gosh.
Did-
Really?
Yeah, because it keeps chalo like
For me, that's the most beautiful part
Yeah.
of a classical concert is the alap.
huh.
But
So
that,
go ahead, sir.
that opened my eyes because then everybody said it's not going to work out. Because, calling Gangubai Angalji, I mean, at that time, she stopped singing almost for a decade after her daughter died.
Yeah.
And after her daughter died, she didn't want to sing at all. At that time, Mr. S.M. Krishna was also told me that it's not going to work out, because she doesn't sing. How are you saying that she's going to sing?
What did Mr. S.M. Krishna
S.M.
have to do
Krishna
with
was at that time, was ex-chief minister of Karnataka. Then he
And he used to come for our festivals.
used to
He's
come.
This was in
he's
Bangalore.
a great
in
music
Bangalore.
lover, yeah.
He was a great music. He used to
So
come.
he always used to come for our
And
festivals.
he was also, for a short time, he was in Bombay, Mumbai as a governor in Maharashtra.
He said, will she, she won't be able to.
He said,
he was
I
coming for the
invited-
Bangalore
But
concert
wasn't
also.
Kishori Amonkar coming in place of Gangubai or something like that at that stage? No,
But
no.
Gangubai was much older
Senior,
and senior.
correct. Huh.
So I wanted her to be there. And
Our
practically
first
she-
concert was in Bangalore, so we thought we'll get her from Hubli and Dharwad to come and stay with us and do it.
And then Balamurali ji was, he was one of the most known singers in
Correct.
Carnatic. So all these people, everybody said it's not going to work out.
His Tilana's magical.
Yeah, magical. Absolutely. You're such a music lover. It's amazing with us too. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when I called Gangubai ji and said, you have to sing, he said, I have not sung for 10 years. I said, you have to come. So she agreed to come. Everybody came to my house in Bangalore. We all just met once without discussing anything. After 1 hour or so, everybody was friends with everybody. Somebody took the harmonium and started playing.
Vadali
Vadali brothers
brothers
started singing. This Rajasthan folk singer started singing. Balamurali started
Like
singing.
when Badali brothers started singing, this man took out his kartal and he started playing kartal for him. And it was so informal and all the musicians
So,
relaxed so
I said,
much.
everybody, we will do 5 minutes. Pankaj Udas and Ghazal and everybody 5 minutes. At the end, I said, we are all going to
Stand on
and do a
stage.
thing together. Absolutely
Everybody
no.
would do 1.5 to 2 minutes, one after the other, and then do Vande Mataram together.
Which
That's
I
what
have
we did.
composed something linking from folk style to classical style to everything. Everything.
And you found a common strain.
Yeah, commentary. I have to
In all
compose
of it.
something because nothing
That is
was-
your magic that you
Very
can
yes.
compose.
We did it. Nobody said anything. He said, we love to do this.
Everybody was so cooperative,
Everybody, and we repeated in different places. So I think under proper circumstances and proper understanding, musicians are open. But otherwise, generally the assumption is, if I go there, will I get importance?
Correct.
That question, that
I
insecurity
think
when
that's
it
the
comes.
worry that eats them up.
Yeah.
But
Because of
basically,
folk.
they are all open to doing things together.
And a classical musician especially, they feel, suddenly a Bollywood singer and everybody started asking for that thing, whether I'll get importance. A folk artist will think, if I go next to a classical singer, nobody will respect me. They'll think you're a folk artist. But all these things are true. But when it is under proper thing, planned and things like that, we did it all over India. We are
We
planning
did
to
it
do
in Delhi also. It was called Visions of India. So it was part of our festival. So we did Bombay and we did Bangalore.
What is
Delhi.
your experience with when you meet with artists of this kind, where they are so accomplished that at times they get temperamental, and do you feel they're justified in being temperamental because they've experienced hurt before? Or do you feel that they're at a higher level, or they're free spirits, they're at a different... What is your experience?
I don't think there's any justification for that. But sometimes I kind of understand some of the tantrums which artists can have. And I just accept it as part of their personality, saying that all the five fingers are not similar. It's not necessary that all artists will be humble and down to earth. There'll be somebody who's actually fantastic but has a line of insecurity inside for whatever. It could be their childhood upbringing. It could be to a certain extent, we've all grown up with a lot of love in the family. And, my family has given me a lot of confidence to say, okay, people should accept me for what I am. I don't have to be somebody else to be accepted. But there are certain people who've gone through a lot of poverty. Some people who have not gone through school education. And there are other handicaps. So it kind of makes them into a different person. But inside the core might be nice. But you see their outside tantrums like, ये क्या होटल है? मुझे नहीं आ रहा है, बस चलो दूसरे होटल पे लेके जाओ. I've seen all these tantrums and he's saying, ये क्या है? मैं तो business class जाता हूँ. अतः पता है मेरा तो first class है. आप पता है किससे बात कर रहे हो? These kind of things I've seen a lot. But then I know I'm not an organizer at that point, so I don't feel all these pains. But I feel there's some insecurity. Because when I see some of the Western musicians whom he has worked with, like George Duke and Stanley Clarke and Hubert Laws and some of even Vadim Repin they're all so down to earth. They carry their own bag. They'll carry their suitcase and the violin and come out of the hotel. They're not looking for a porter also. You know what I mean? So when I see their upbringing from childhood, they've been learnt to take care of themselves. Then I think when I see some of the tantrums which Indian artists, I think I just take it as, theek hai, he's like this. It's his loss that he's not learned to mix. I don't feel, earlier I could have felt a sense of anger sometimes, but now I don't. I feel it's just your background has a lot to do with the kind of person you are. There are a lot of these classical musicians also who are amazing musicians on stage. But once they come off stage, they have a lot of issues, but it's also because some of them have not gone through any schooling or any proper... I do feel that, a little bit of an educated upbringing does help a person.
You worked with so many composers over the decades, and you've also worked, like you said, 1 hour song, one take songs that you did where you had to sing the whole thing, and then slowly technology changed. Let's come to that part about singing these days, where technology and now artificial intelligence taking over.
Yes, that's scary actually.
What do you feel at that stage that you have to adapt to it because everybody has to adapt to technology? Do you feel a sense of loss, or do you feel that, okay, this is a new thing?
Well, as far as technology is concerned, I feel it's okay. We have to take it in our strides, and well and good. At this age, if I have to sing one word and then take a big breath and then sing the next word, well, my life is easier at this age. And I've already got groomed in the difficult ways of singing songs. So now for me, it's, like chutti, freedom. I wouldn't have liked this when I was young because I feel it would somehow impede my processes of thinking and being alert. So for me now, technology is okay, but I do feel scared of artificial intelligence. And unless it's used for, medicine or something, science or something like that, for music, when you think of AI, I feel very scared. And I feel there can be a lot of misuse. Forget the good uses. I don't know what good uses it will have, like to take my voice and sample it and say, okay, I can get her to sing a song in Arabic. Or the most difficult language in the world, Russian or whatever, Japanese, Chinese. I wouldn't be happy to hear a song of mine in Chinese, which I have not actually worked hard and sung myself. Because it's Chinese, fine, it's my voice, but do you think it'll have my emotion? My question mark is, what happens? A song is supposed to have emotion, right? The main part of a singing is emotion in any form, whether it is a spiritual song, it's a happy song, it's a sad song. If you're not able to pass on an emotion, then you're not an artist.
Correct.
So is AI going to pass on the emotion of my voice or the way I sing or the way Alka sings or the way Shreya sings or Arijit sings. Will an AI bring that in a Chinese song or a Russian song? I don't know. Because honestly, I also hear this, sometimes these children are crazy about K-pop and all that, right? I'm not that generation. I listen to that music. It doesn't touch my heart. I know I'm not young. Maybe if I was young
No,
and
it
I was
doesn't
able
touch
to
my heart.
dance, maybe I would have enjoyed that music. Very pretty, pretty youngsters singing songs like that. But that's not my kind of music. I'm not going to enjoy it. So if AI makes me sing a K-pop song, actually I'd be terrified. I wouldn't want it because it's not however many millions I'm going to get for that song. Supposing I sing a song which is K-pop or Russian or something, and suddenly my bank balance is going to be in crores. I don't think I want that money because it's not me. That's why I worry about AI.
Yeah.
It's because AI, I feel, is going to destroy some copyright rules.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of infringement in copyright rules and a lot of misuse. And also I feel that, like my voice can be misused in the sense it can be used on somebody in distress. There can be so many misuse of a voice.
Mani said it's more dangerous for instrumental, isn't it? Because though there is a human brilliance in playing it, it can go into a database and it doesn't have to have that human emotion once it goes in. Do you feel that AI is more dangerous for instrumental music than for vocal music?
In instrumental music also, we, as my father used to say, every note, you don't think as a note, then it become a dead note. You bring life to that note. Then you think of Sura Devata and bring every note is like a live thing. Then you can do a raga and create a surup or the emotion for the raga. So in artificial intelligence, they can play the same frequency. They can gauge the frequencies, what you're doing and try to copy it. But the link emotion, what phrases you are going to do, one after
The dynamics also.
Dynamics, because every time you play, you don't play the same thing in alap. So artificial intelligence create a raga, but that raga, whenever they play, it will be the same thing.
Correct.
But whereas an artist playing even the same note, every time it is slightly different. Because the approach, the speed of the vibrato or the sliding speed, how many times you slide, all the minute detail varies with the artistic creativity at that time. I can slide once or multiple times, go to a note, and the speed with which you approach that note, all these things is variable in every concert, every time you play.
What about percussion, sir? Because lay and tala will be the same, no?
There also, some of the tonal production, the dynamics what they create, also gumiki when they do in the mridangam or tabla, all those things they can sample it and create a similar tone. That's how, when the electronic, before the artificial intelligence came, all the keyboard came with all the tonalities of, you can get a keyboard. Those days it used to be D50, where you see, you want a vibraphone sound, you get it in the keyboard. You want a trumpet sound, you create it in the keyboard. So it's all sampling. Those sampled digitally and that kept it so that when they play, even though you just play the keyboard, you were getting all those sounds. So, but still, those sounds, when a string plays, that's what, even today, when a big orchestra is used in a film like, Jaws and all the major films, real big orchestras, a real big ensemble is used. That sound is different. When a keyboard is playing a full orchestral sound,
Yeah, it's different.
that is different.
But see, sir, didn't the Tanpura artist go off the stage because the Shruti box came in?
Singing in Shruti is a responsibility of the musician. They cannot put the blame on tambura, automatic tambura, real tambura. So if they don't want to use the
But there are there are good tanpuras also which are so close to the real
Yeah, because
ones.
nowadays, the digital tamburas.
iPhone tanpuras.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what happened, no? So then, you pay less because one artist is less. So for
Not only that.
Also that tuning of a tanpura is very
not only
difficult.
that.
Also.
Before you were able to get, when you travel up, if you're traveling every day in different cities, can you imagine a big tambura being carried, checked in, if it cracks, if it breaks, you can't take it inside the plane.
Yeah.
So they started making smaller tamburas, different versions. But real tambura...
Even the bottom part became smaller and smaller.
Smaller and smaller, yes.
So
then that
resonance,
resonance,
yes.
that's the word. Yeah.
And the practicality
Absolutely.
of taking but that is an excuse we all give, saying that we can't really take a tambura and travel. You see a Western orchestra, they're bringing a double bass, which is taller than,
The harp.
harp.
The cello,
That's
the
so-
harp.
The cello, yes.
All those things, they still, in an orchestra, they don't come with a mini cello and play.
No.
They bring,
That's true.
in this tour for our festival,
You know, it's, yeah.
there are
what's
6
the nine?
cellos
Yes.
and 3
6
double
cellos to
basses.
cut them to different cities because some of the airlines won't take these cellos.
Oh.
Even if you pay an extra ticket for them to carry
Do you
it.
hand carry your violin?
Violin always,
Once it happened in Phoenix when I was with him, he was performing. And after he finished the concert, we came to the airport next day to leave. And as we were boarding, that lady said, you can't take your violin, you have to check it in. He says, no, I won't check it in. She said, no, sorry, you can't take it in. He says, okay, out with my luggage. I'll take another airlines and another aircraft. I can't. At that time, I think the pilot was passing by. He saw this argument. He says, anything, he says, can I help you with something? And they said, this is the problem. The pilot turned out to be, he used to play the violin, it seems. He says, no problem, we'll make space for it. Let him bring it in.
How nice. What
Yes.
do you put it in the overhead cabin?
Yeah, it fits in there.
It fits into the
Exactly.
overhead cabin. And how many do you travel with? Like,
Normally I used to have 2, but now I'm traveling with 1 because my son also has another violin.
Huh.
But normally I have 2, but this one, I gave
Exactly.
the other one to my granddaughter because she's practicing and hopefully she'll play with me.
she's
in
going to
Bangalore.
play. Oh,
Hopefully
how
in
nice.
Bangalore, yeah.
Bangalore.
concert. Yeah.
I
So
love
let's talk about your children. I mean, you performed at the Madison Square Garden, right?
Yeah.
So what was it like to have your son there performing? Tell us about that. He's called a prodigy of music.
Well, I've performed with Abhi before that. Of course, being in Madison Square Garden that day was absolutely historic, and we saw this. Modiji was a superstar. You know, it was amazing to see the love and acclaim he got from everybody. So that was a fantastic evening. But playing with Ambi is very satisfying for me, more than me for him, because every note he's made him, you know, like from childhood, made him hold the violin, practice. And then we saw Ambi practicing on his own, working hard. So it was not only the training, it's also that he's put in his own hard work. So for him as a guru, it's probably very satisfying. And for me, it is wonderful to know that he has been able to pick up the violin and decide that he wants to live the life of a musician. We know the life of a musician
you
is
didn't
not
tell him
easy.
first become a doctor and then, like your father said.
No, it was the contrary because, you know, I always worried because many of my father's colleagues who were great musicians, their children changed their profession. So the whole lineage suddenly ended. They all became engineers or something like even for
Did you tell your son that
No,
do
no,
engineering? No?
No, not at all. I wanted him to be a musician.
So I
actually.
wanted him to play the violin. When he was very young, I started teaching him.
Because your other 3 children,
My-
one daughter plays the violin, right?
Yeah, one daughter plays the violin. But second daughter, she sings. She's a lawyer. And she's also a songwriter.
That's Ginger.
The Ginger is the eldest one.
S-list.
This is Bindu.
And
Bindu.
Niru,
Huh.
Naranjani
You've
we call
performed with Bindu, right?
Bindu, yeah, a lot.
She lives in Bangalore and she runs the Sapa. She and Ambi run the Sapa, which is
The
music
foundation.
school.
Huh. Okay.
As well as they do Sapa in schools. They've got about 30-40 children learning music under them.
Huh.
Now in
And-
school, close to 40,000 children are learning under
Amazing.
my daughter and Bindu and Ambi. And she's an entrepreneur and she's a creative person.
And we have only one son who is following medicine. He's a cancer oncologist in the elder one, who's older to Ambi.
Okay.
He said, Appa, there are too many musicians in this family. I'll take up medicine.
And
So
from
he's...
where younger days, he used to say,
He used
I
to
want
play the
become-
violin very well, but he
He used to
decided
play very
take
well.
up medicine.
Narayana.
And
No,
he used to
it's
sing Hindi film songs with me
Okay.
on stage sometime. But he said, Amma, no, I think I'd be a doctor.
Huh.
But now he's almost one of the director of the Sparsh
He's
Hospital in
HOD of
Bangalore,
the head
head
and
of the
neck.
department,
Okay.
head and neck cancer surgeon. But I wanted at
Okay,
least
so he became an oncologist.
He became-
head and neck surgeon, yeah. But at the same time, I want at least one of my children to continue my father's lineage.
Yeah.
So I used to push him. His name was, he was named after my father, Lakshminarayana, and we call him Ambi short. So in younger days, he used to say, one day after pushing him a lot, I don't want to play violin anymore. I said, okay. I took the violin and kept it in the top of the bureau.
He was very young. He was 9 years old at that time, 9 or 10 years old. 10 years old.
I said, then I told, okay, you don't have to play. Then I said, I used to have a driver called Das. He used to come and wait from morning till I asked him to go home. I said, you go home, I'm not going to go anywhere. He said, no, sir. when you go to bed, I'll go. You can't find people like that nowadays. They will all look at the clock and say, can I go now? Can I? So I told him, go to Das and he will teach you a little bit of driving. And also, if you have to do something, as long as I'm there, there'll be a roof and there'll be food. But after I'm gone, you have to do something. So learn driving from Das. And he will also teach you how to climb up in a coconut tree and to pluck coconut. If you don't have money, you may have to go up. One thing you have to remember when you go up, there might be a monkey coming for the same coconut. Whoever is strong will stay there.
I can imagine a 9-year-old like,
He used to
try everything in.
This is a very funny situation at home
So
because
I
for
just
three,
told
this
him.
was 4 days. He told him the story. The violin had not been touched for 4 days.
3-4 days. I said, you go to Das and he will teach you how to climb the tree, to pluck coconut and also driving. So you can at least drive somebody's house, be a driver, whatever you want to be. After 4 days, Appa, I want to play the violin. I said, are
He
you
came
sure?
back. It was so
I
funny.
said,
He just came
after
back and
he
very
started practicing. I didn't have to push him at all.
He was very small and he says, Papa, can I play the violin? I'll never forget his face when he said that.
What you have to, with a question to both of you about the Guru Shishya Parampara, you know, what you are saying is whether your Shishya is living with you. He's your son, yes. But not many children, many students have that ability, right? They come, they have studying at home and then, you know, the parents saying, okay, this is something you can do on the side, but they have a profession in mind, or commuting to the class is a problem. What do you have to say about the Guru Shishya Parampara, the death of that? Is it time to start that again? What do you have to say to that? Like Kalakshetra is doing that. I mean, that they continued with that. There are problems with it. You don't get the teachers. You don't have that quality of students or the dedication of students that Rukmini Devi had at that time.
Right.
So what do you have to say to that, sir?
No, Guru Shishya Parampara, in fact, the whole system of education, now when you go to college, a lot of people go to college and get a BA degree and with a gold medal in vocal or instrumental or masters in MFA in music. And none of these people, till today, of my knowledge, I have not seen anybody who is like an M.S. Subbulakshmi or Kishori ji or anybody. They all have certificates saying, first class, gold medalist in singing or playing an instrument. They can't play for 10 minutes or to make the audience sit. Whereas Guru Shishya Parampara, he created all these legends all these years. So there has to be a bridge. In modern days, it is not possible to have a Shishya, 10 Shishya staying in your house and everything. One of the advantages of Guru Shishya Parampara was whenever you was with the Guru not only taught you, he was teaching other people also. So automatically you was all the time listening to the music.
Listening is a very important process as a
Subconsciously you
musician.
are absorbing.
Yeah.
Subconsciously you are absorbing. May not be your lesson, maybe a higher lesson, maybe a lower lesson. You are surrounded by these sounds. That's why I believe that whenever a pregnant woman listens to a lot of music or instrument, the child become very attracted to those tonalities, those frequencies. They respond better to music. I feel music is very important for intellectual and spiritual and emotional growth. It is very, very important because a lot of people, because of pressure in IIT and things, people are committing suicide because there's not a balance of emotional thing. Oh, I have to become first, otherwise parents will say something, my colleague will say something, peer pressure. All the tension and pressure should not be there. Who is going to say when you become later on, finish and started practicing, were you a gold medalist or were you first, what is your mark? Doesn't matter.
No, yes.
But for these things, other activities like, music and things like that, which takes your mind and keeps you calm, emotional balance. It's very important for emotional, spiritual and intellectual balance. So Guru Shishya Parampara because you saw a lot of people who are advanced and you are lower than you are. But you are a Shishya, you took some time to learn things. But when you go and sit in a class and you can read 200 books about raga, you cannot sing a raga.
Yeah, that's true.
So we have convinced some of the things. Now we have created a syllabus, Lakshminarayana Global Center of Excellence, where for MA and BA and PhD in music. Because Sapa is doing for all the children, my daughter and son is doing. Bindu and Ambi.
But we are into higher education.
We are into higher education, which has been implemented. I'm tied up with some of the universities, including Gangabaa University, where the practical music training and listening is given more importance, which is a bridge between the Gurukul system and the college education. You cannot read 200 books about a raga and sing raga. You
Correct.
can never sing a raga. You have to listen to a raga, learn from a guru and practice it and practice it and practice it.
Yeah.
So you can bring life to each note and it becomes emotionally very
So we
strong.
are trying. He's sat down and he's really worked at a syllabus for BA, MA, and we have some PhDs also. And we've tied up with 2-3 universities now. And we've already had a couple of batches
It's
of
very
BA and
interesting
MA.
what you're saying, because I'd gone to Whistling Woods and you performed there and you spoke to the students there, and that's what Mr. Ghai was saying, Subhash Ghai was saying, is that, and I saw for myself, there are students out there, they'd be learning film making or film whatever, but there's a concert going on the side, or there's somebody playing folk music. Now that will become part of that person's being.
Yeah.
That he was in the campus or she was in the campus and she was exposed to that, and she listened to you speak to them, and you talked to them about your life, you played, you sang. It's because of this absorption of culture, and that will show up in their filmmaking,
Yes, it is definitely very inspiring to actually meet people who have been in the field, and you see how they're handling certain issues, how they talk about their lives, and you realize that we are seeing the glamour, but they've also had a hard life.
How was your experience at that stage? That, this is something which is so unique about Indian music, that you don't have to look hot on stage and you can still be such a successful singer. You spoke about Lata ji and so many other, that you don't, like you spoke some time back, I remember reading about it, that today you don't have to necessarily be a great singer, you just have to have an attitude when you go on stage, right? But you have this, all of you were like, sari, salwar kameez, but you could sing a Hawa Hawaii. How did you feel when you see America and you see the Western music, where film music, or you see performing artists which are more about looks and things, and today India is also going that way?
Yeah, actually, you won't believe it. In a way, I probably admire these youngsters, because I feel that, we had to really, because there's no digital, nothing, we had time to focus on our practice and then go and sing songs, etc., etc. Now I see them, they have to work so hard. They have to go to gyms, they have to keep themselves trim, they have to look very nice on stage, they have to worry about what they're wearing, and then they have to be on YouTube, they have to be in Insta, they have to be on Twitter, and they have to keep commenting every day about different issues. I feel so much time has, and then for them to be professionally able to find time to practice and sing, I think they are doing 4 jobs at one go. So I admire the youngsters for their energy and their, like this kind of an attitude. But sometimes I feel in all this, what happens is it's amazing how they, what is the word? Multitask. This is not a word which I knew in my childhood.
Does it take away?
The only thing I somehow feel is, see, I was able to I'm talking about myself, I don't know about other people, that actually all these years I was able to do my music, right? And I never really had to dress differently to be a singer. I could be myself. I could also be a sister. I could also be a wife. And I would just, whatever I'm at home, I was outside. But now I feel the children really have to struggle in this lot more stress. I feel music or this kind of a profession should not be so stressful, like you don't want to be so trim, but you want to sing fantastically. You should get the opportunity to be what you are. You shouldn't have to change your innate personality. If you do that, there's a lot of stress in life. That's why there's a lot of stress.
That is one of the stress of
of being
changing
somebody
times.
else. Yes.
Does the audience reaction influence in any manner how when you are in a concert? Does it influence both of you? A question.
For us, I think we've reached the stage where it doesn't, because we are known for what we are. So when I go up on stage, if I'm in a Kanjivaram sari, people don't expect me suddenly to come, in those Western clothes and do some dance movements. If I've started out with standing on a standing mic with a little book, and then without a book, singing. So now when I sing, even if I don't move much, people are okay, because I think that's the kind of audiences I perform for.
And
so I'm
to
not
you, sir?
under stress.
For me, I think I play in different places where, when I go there, I'm informed this is this hall, this is this place, this is this audience, this is this country. But once you start playing, the sound takes over. Then after that, I normally ask to switch off all the audience light so that I don't.
But
want people
Ellis, you
see.
remember you told me when you came back from Australia that you did a concert in Adelaide and it was raining a little bit. Just tell her about that, because I feel that shows the artist that you are. Remember that
happened?
incident in Adelaide?
It was one of those WOMAD World Music Festival thing. And before me, there was
Nusrat Fateh Ali ji.
Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan.
Okay.
Sahab,
Just
his
before
group.
him.
Just before him.
He was a superstar.
At that time, he was in the peak of his career, and after that, I'm supposed to play and close the thing. We had whole, Qawwali with whole people clapping and high energy thing and everything.
Very high energy.
Very high energy. So we went and finished it, and just before I went to the stage, one of my friend organizers who was involved in that said, "This people are really high energy and everything. It is also drizzling, so you probably might have to play some fast number and to keep up the thing." I went to the stage. I didn't feel like playing anything fast. I wanted to start with an alap. That's what my inner voice said. I just closed my eyes and started playing a long alap. After I finished, it was drizzling. People were still sitting, some of them with umbrella, some of them without umbrella, listening to the long alap. So after that, he came and said, "I don't know what happened. People are sitting and listening. They want an encore. I had to play extra time." So I think sometimes we misjudge people also. Same thing happened in Russia, Moscow, some months back. We went for one of the biggest festival there in the open air. It was pouring 6 o'clock, so we couldn't even do a sound check. Even in the stage, though it was covered, there was rain, water was coming on the
Moisture
piano.
coming,
There's moisture coming and the piano was getting a little wet, everything. We had to move the keyboard, everything. So I said, 7 o'clock, sir, we have to start and everything. They said, ambassadors coming also. So I said, there's nobody's there. Absolutely, it was empty except one guy, camera person for the television with the thing he was taking for the news and things like that. So I was there backstage. They said, sir, we had to start 7. When I went there, you wouldn't believe people were standing in the rain, some with the umbrella, some with the raincoat, just to listen to music. Sometimes people are so passionate about music someplace.
In Moscow, Russians and all are really, really fond of
And when
culture
you
and music.
see those...
Indian music also?
Generally, of course, they're
okay.
great Western music, but
yeah.
they loved his
France
music
and
also. France,
all Australia.
Cell phones.
France.
Tell me, how does that impact when you see an audience, when you're at a concert and you see somebody with a cell phone?
We got used to it. I can't say anything to them.
Normally I announce because many times not one cell phone. Everybody nowadays have cell phones.
Everybody, you can see those lights, and they're all. Even the day I'm not well, they're recording whatever I've sung.
It
If
is
I've
not
not
that.
got a cold or anything.
It is not only
I
that.
little get worried, but what to do?
They come to listen to a concert. They should listen to a concert. They want to see the concert. They can go home and look at the whatever internet,
YouTube,
everything.
yeah.
But every cell phone having suddenly you see so
Then they're
many
not
phones.
listening, no? They're just watching, right?
Yeah.
What to do?
You feel it's one of those things which will change if they become more sensitive, more accepting
How?
to the magic of the moment? No.
How will they? How will you change that?
There will be
They're
audiences for
You'll
both.
get one person will take out his phone, then another 2 people in the same row, then somebody from the acha wo bhi le rahe, main bhi leti hu. This has become a whole story
It's
now.
big.
But there will
Yeah.
be different between, because there are, like in France and other places,
They don't
they
allow.
close their eyes and listen to loud
Yeah.
music. They don't pick up. Also, they are not supposed to take photograph and,
Yeah.
And they are
all
very
the discipline
disciplined.
is
They-
there.
yeah.
So they are not supposed to take up their phone and record, video record. There are publishing issues and those things are also there. So they don't pick up the phone.
In India, they
everything.
break all these rules.
Yeah.
Indian audiences break all these rules.
I have to conclude this because I believe you have to leave. But thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you, Smita.
I'm so
Yes.
grateful that you could come to the studio and bless us with your presence
We
and all the
really
stories.
enjoyed this
Thank you.
conversation with you. We felt we were talking to somebody whom we've known for years. And let me admire you for your knowledge in music. I'm very impressed.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thanks a lot.
Very
A
much.
pleasure and thank
We
you.
really enjoyed doing this.
Dhanyavad. Thank you. Thank you very much for watching or listening to this edition of ANI Podcast with Smita Prakash. Do like or subscribe on whichever channel you have seen this or heard this. Namaste. Jai Hind. Click here to watch the previous episodes.